Hey guys, Eric Peacock here with Puravida Fitness here. Just going to get Greg on here in a minute. Um, just an opportunity to give back for us. We have certain core values we've laid out for Puravida Fitness, and one of those is giving back. And we're going to give back by helping a great ministry here tonight. And so I'm going to get Greg on as soon as I see him on here. I'm going to punch Greg on here, and I'm going to talk about Greg. Yep, he's on. So bear with us with our technology here. But just real simply, my business is my ministry too. I mean, we all have jobs and businesses that we do to earn a living, but you can also, with the platform with fitness, is a great platform to really do some good. And I'm going to have my friend Greg get on here. Just bear with me as I get him on camera. And Greg, I'm going to let Greg talk about his organization. You there, Greg?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yep.
Awesome. Technology.
Technology works. I know we did a practice run a little while ago. So we're going to be recording this, but I want to talk to Greg. I'm interviewing Greg here tonight because, I guess we go back a few years. Greg and I were in a mastermind group together. I think when we first met, we had a mutual friend in Randy Hart's, another great guy. And he got up during our mastermind and talked about his purpose in life and his ministry, Crisis Rescue International, and some of the things he was just saying just blew my mind. I remember one of the statements you made was, how can you live on this side of the world when you know what's going on the other side of the world? And that just kind of stuck with me. And since then, we've gotten to know each other through Advocare events, and just we've had a couple events here for Greg's ministry. But recently, as some of the people know, is that we know that you're losing a source of your funding for your ministry with the Advocare Commission changes, and so we wanted to step up and do something for your ministry. So I'm going to have Greg talk. I'm going to turn it over to him, and I'm just going to shut up here. But I think Greg, you've got a lot of good things to talk about what you actually do with your ministry and how you do it, and then when we get done at the end, I will talk about the little black dress piece of how we're going to take the little black dress and really try to help get it going to help your ministry bridge that gap. So it's all yours.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric. I just wanted to, again, I respect you and your ministry, obviously through the gym business. I just want to thank you for having me on tonight and just allowing me to share my heart and what God's doing in Southeast Asia and through Crisis Rescue International. So I'm actually going to start with just kind of take you back a little bit, just how I got involved with Crisis Rescue International. So about 8 years ago, 2011, God really laid on my heart to get involved with sex trafficking and the fight against it. And so for almost 2 years, I did some research, different ministries, different organizations, and really God was closing doors. I was really just kind of getting frustrated, and so I didn't know if this is what God wanted me to do for sure or not. But in 2013, we were actually invited to a special training with Avocare, a nutritional company we were with. And a week prior to going to this training in September of 2013, my mother-in-law passed away. And just to give you a little background on her, she was really about two things. She loved the Lord, loved to share the gospel, and two, she loved children. She had 12 children, nine by birth and three adopted, and two of those adopted from India. And she was really a big reason why I'm serving God today. And so 3 days after her funeral, we decided to go to this training, and we sat by a couple that morning, and basically I shared, introduced ourselves, and he introduced himself. He goes, "I'm David Farmer. I'm a pastor. I have a ministry called Crisis Rescue International, and I rescue children from sex trafficking in India." And that was one of those moments where you just kind of go, wow, did this really happen? And I just remember we left that breakfast table that morning, and my wife looked at me and says, "You're going to India, aren't you?" And it was kind of one of those things where they say, the rest is history. And so, um, you know, basically, I just got back about last month. I got back my 13th trip, and so it's been an incredible journey that God's put me on, and it's definitely changed my life and lives of many others. So I kind of share basically what Crisis Rescue, what we stand for, how we rescue children. We are a 501c nonprofit. We fight against sex trafficking. We really get children three different ways. How we focus, how we get children. The first is actually through working with brokers and brothels, Basically, brokers are people who buy and sell children. My very first trip in 2013, I was actually a part of rescuing a young girl. She was 9 years old at the time, and she was sold by a broker to a gentleman who sexually abused her. And one night, he could not get her to stop crying, so he actually poured alcohol on her chest and started her on fire. And we were actually able to, and God provided a way for us to intervene and rescue her from that man. And today she's 14 years old, an incredible woman, a young lady that's got a smile on her face at all times. And so another reason that we've rescued children, another way we have rescued from brokers was several years ago we were part of dealing with a broker, and we came across where we could purchase 10 children between ages 5 and 8. We've been working with this broker for some time, and we finally made agreement that we would make this exchange. And we set out at this point where Dave Farmer actually poses as the buyer. I'm actually his bodyguard, which is kind of the perks of being in the gym business and being a little bigger. But so it's amazing how God will use you no matter where you're at. But so we had set out to make the exchange to buy these 10 children. And we came across, when you're dealing with the black market and dealing with brokers, it's very movie-like in a way where you set out, you go to a checkpoint, wait for a phone call, and then have you go to the next checkpoint. And this had gone along for quite some time. And we finally got to where we turned into this field, and we got stopped by a guy in a ski mask, and he hopped in the back seat with me. And one of those fear and faith kind of things collide. But we ventured down this basically this pasture field, this dirt road, and he had us go left and right. And so we're going down this, and this had gone on for about 10 minutes where we were getting kind of nervous, to be honest with you, where we just didn't know if we should bail on this mission, and we just felt, God really wanted us there. And so we asked the broker if, we're going to get to the location, and he finally said, yes, we're just up the road a little ways. And so we get to the point where we stop, and he gets out of the vehicle and motions for us to get out to follow him. And in the distance, we could see this small little shack. And so we got up to the shack, and out from there come the big broker, his boss. And the first thing, we get patted down for weapons and make sure we didn't carry anything. And then we just said we want to see the children. And so we walk into this small little shack. I'm guessing the size of probably about of a single garage, and there's 26 children in there. And I just remember the first thing that came across my mind was, okay, how do I pick 10 out of 26? And so we started asking the broker some questions, if some of these kids, some of these girls have been used, and they had been. And then we asked, as we were talking, some of these kids were speaking a little bit of English, and so we were kind of puzzled by it. And so we asked, you're teaching them English, and he says it makes them more valuable to the customer, which really was just hard to even hear. So we step outside of this little shack, and at this point, Dave and I were just kind of talking, what do you think? And I just said, there's no way I'm going to be able to pick out 10 out of these 26. And so we went back and basically negotiated with this broker, and we were able to buy actually all 26 kids that night and take them and back to one of our safe homes. And this particular time was about midnight, and which is about noon here back here in the States. And so I ended up calling my wife that day and said, I'm okay, but we just bought 16 more children, so I need you to send funds to pay the remaining of the balance. And I'm so blessed because my wife is amazing. And she just said, I'll figure it out. I'll figure a way to make it happen. And in the gym business, where we have back here in the States, here in Brookings, South Dakota, that day somebody came into the gym and said, I just feel like I'm supposed to bless your ministry. And they ended up giving Pam a check, which was the exact amount we needed to pay off the broker. So God's amazing in that way. He always provides. So second way we actually get children, that we rescue children, is actually through the Hindu religious practice called Devadasi. And basically what Devadasi is a kind of a term given to young girls that are dedicated to the temple gods and goddesses. And just I'll kind of explain really detail or really quickly what they go through. They basically go through about a 2-day wedding ceremony where they get married to the temple gods. And at that particular time, she will then, and their age is about 9, 10 years of age, and they will become a slave basically to the priest, to the temple, They'll cook, they'll clean, whatever is necessarily needed around the area. But then when she hits her first menstrual cycle, they will literally auction off her virginity, and sometimes as little as 25 pounds of rice. And he'll take her, sexually abuse her to the point where she'll become pregnant. Then he will literally basically discard her, kick her to the streets, where her only form to survive is to beg or to basically prostitute herself out. A couple years ago, we were actually able to I was actually able to sit down with six of the Devadasi women, young ladies, basic ages between 16 and 24, and just to hear their stories, to as far as kind of get more of a background and what they go through, and to hear just of to see the burn marks, the knife wounds, to hear about the rapes and the just the beatings, was almost more like I even almost handled myself. And I just remember I get done, and Dave came over to me at that time and just said, what do you think? And then what'd you find out? And I just said, they just need the love of Jesus. And so we actually gathered them in this village and with all their children, and just basically shared the love of Jesus. And then we shared what we do as a ministry. And when we got done, they were begging us to take their children. And that day, we ended up taking 40 children that are now in our care, in our custody. They'll never know that lifestyle. They will basically now have a hope in the future that they never would have had before. The lifestyle they would have had from that. But so that day, I'll share just a quick story on that day. Was I had a father who the mother had passed away of one of the young girls that we were going to take, and he brought her over to me that day, and we don't speak obviously the same language, but he had motioned me to take his daughter, and she was 9 years old. And he just I remember he started bawling, I was crying, and I just remember saying, you know what, now she's safe. She's going to have a hope, she's going to have a future, she's going to get education. And I just remember saying to him that you will always be her father. And that's probably one of the hardest moments of my life, to be honest with you. And so the third way um, we get children is obviously through kind of the prevention part of it. We do a lot of ministry in the remote slums and villages where, because of extreme poverty, it's a high risk for traffickers, and and so they'll get deceived, and basically they'll steal the children from the actually slums. And so 3 years ago, we were actually able to. Because of extreme poverty, there was a mother that was going to sell her 20-day-old baby to a broker. And basically, brokers will buy and sell children. Um, Basically, brokers will buy the children and then raise them up to when they're about 6, 7 years of age, and then sell them to the brothels, which is kind of the new thing that they do just because of the cost factor. And so we were actually able to save her, and now she's a 3-year-old little girl with a smile and pigtails, which is just incredible to see. But our children are such a part of our ministry. We have rescued over 300 kids. Right now, we have about 200 and it's about 280 children that we actually take care of right now. We have 8 safe homes over in India, and we are responsible for all the funding. We are responsible to take care of them, not only to house them, to feed them, to educate them. And but our budget right now, just for example, is about a little over $11,000 a month. We are all privately funded, and so everything we raise is 100% goes to basically to take care of these children. And so we are so blessed to have them a part of our ministry. We include them in everything we do. For example, when we rescue, like for example, those 40 children that we did rescue, we use it as an opportunity to not only just to save these children, but to teach them and to teach them about Jesus Christ and the love of Jesus. And we were actually able to use this as an opportunity. When we get children, we always buy them clothes. And one particular time, we actually set out, we buy these children clothes. We had them pick out an outfit, and then we had them pick out a second outfit. And what we did, we sat them down and we shared, like in the Bible, where in Acts 20:35, where Jesus says it's more blessed to give than receive. And so we actually told these children, and they were so excited. We actually had them take their outfits, and we went to a remote slum, and they were able to give away their outfits, which is amazing when they have nothing, and the little things they do get, they actually gave it away. And we were actually able to share the gospel, giving them gospel tracts as well. So it's just a great ministry to see what God's doing. And again, I just want to say thank you to you, Eric, for allowing me to share this. And again, if we want to open up for questions later, I'm more than happy to answer the questions. And so I'm just going to turn it back over to you.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. The most thing, what I love about your ministry, Greg, is you're right there in the front lines. You're out right there doing it. You're facing face to face with the bad guys. I remember the last time we talked, the last Advocare thing, you were talking about being over in Southeast Asia and dealing with the almost like a movie, like the Russian mob and all this, how scary it was, how this is a real deal. We don't even think about on this side of the world that you see this organized crime thing is real. This is a very highly organized business, and it's a very evil thing that's going on in the world, and we just are oblivious to it. We've heard about it, but it kind of blew my mind. So, I mean, it just, to me, it's impressed. I'm almost jealous because you found your purpose and you're living it out and you're doing it and you're right in the front lines, face to face in some pretty scary situations, doing some good work. So what we're doing, I was sitting there thinking about this. You put a Facebook Live up, that you're going to lose your source of funding with the Advocare Commission changes. And I wanted to do something. Well, it just so happens we're running this Little Black Dress project, which we ran it for the first time a year ago last summer, and it was really successful. And I thought, you know what, we're gonna do something good with this Little Black Dress project. A lot of training facilities are doing things like, 6-week transformation, 21-day fat loss. The Little Black Dress project is really cool because it's for women that every woman I know, I guess I found out when I first ran this, has a black dress they want to get into, and they want to get in shape. And we know summer can be tough, coming off of graduations and cabin schedules here in Minnesota, and just summer schedules are different. People can get off track, and this thing is awesome because it's a 4-week get you back on track program, and it's for women. So sorry guys, you want to tell your significant others and your wives about this, but we really use some of our best tools at our studio and online to help people get back on track. And really, we have 2 versions of this, but everything we do with this Little Black Dress project, 50% of it is going to go to Greg's ministry. So we have an in-studio version where we're gonna do 4 weeks of workouts, dedicated workouts in our studio, group workouts. They're going to be probably typically anywhere from 4 to 6 people, sometimes more, sometimes less. That's the average size of our class. We have unlimited group workouts, well tailored to the ladies. You get to do workouts that are going to help you tone, burn fat. They're going to be very time efficient. We put these workouts together to really affect slow metabolisms, and we've been doing this for years, and it's very effective. On top of that, we're going to throw in some unlimited HIIT cardio workouts. We have 30-minute express workouts to just throw kind of like icing on the cake, no pun intended, on top of the group training workouts. We have an awesome, now the women last year, this is what really people raved about, was the 4-week nutrition plan is dialed in. 4 weeks of meal plan, of recipes, meal plans laid out for you. I know a lot of women tell me they would love to just have everything planned out for them. And I'll tell you what, the recipe book with this thing is awesome. I've made a bunch of them for my family. After doing this last summer, I took the ladies out. We always have a VIP night out afterwards, and they just raved about the recipes. So I started cooking a bunch of them in my house, and they're awesome. They're really good recipes. They're easy to make, and if I can make them, anybody can make them. You also, if you're doing the in-studio version, you get a one-on-one personal training with one trainer we assign to you that we feel has the best fit for you, both personality-wise and schedule-wise. It's always about matchmaking. That person's job is to customize your program and coach you through those 4 weeks to get great results, and also accountability. We all need accountability. I need accountability. Every one of us does in certain areas of life, and especially fitness. People kind of beat themselves up and say, I can't do this, but if everybody could do this and they didn't need accountability, Greg and I wouldn't have businesses. Greg wouldn't be funding his ministry. So accountability is a big part of that. We also do a pre and post assessment. Now this year at Puravida Fitness, we've actually added an online training feature, which is awesome because we've already got one person on this that's doing online from Boise, Idaho, which I think is great. But this online thing is where we'd actually customize your 4-week plan. So it doesn't matter if you have a gym membership, a home gym. If you don't have anything, we can set you up with an effective program by going out and purchasing a few dumbbells and rubber tubing. We are very good at this, at programming. Now, we can put together an effective program along with progression, along with you'll get the nutrition plan, the recipe book, all those things that you get with the in-studio version. But then we would do, and because a lot of these people are actually going to be out of state or out of our geographical location, we would get on the phone with you every week and do a coaching call, and we keep you accountable on your nutrition. We use the MyFitnessPal app. That's our favorite app to use. But it's a 4-week, whether it's in studio or online, let's get after it. 4 weeks. Let's get you back in that black dress, and let's help Greg's ministry. Now I'm throwing in a special offer on top of this. I decided, Greg and I come from a business coaching mastermind, and recurring income is what really helps stabilize a ministry. So I'm going to throw it out there. If somebody commits to do a recurring full sponsorship, and I'll let Greg explain what that does. That's $105 a month till the end of the year. I'll let you do this thing for free. All right. And there's a lot of value here. There's over $300 in value with this program. So Greg, if they do a full sponsorship, what does that give one of those girls? I mean, what does that provide? That $105 a month, what does that go for?
Wow, wow, that's pretty awesome, Eric. Basically, it's going to cover all the costs for this child, as far as, housing, education, any kind of medical expenses. And again, that covers everything that they need to survive and to have basically hope in the future. So yeah, basically we can set it up a couple different ways. That way you can do it on PayPal online, go to crisisrescue.org, or if you're somewhere by me, you can I have a account set up. We can do automatically funds like ACH files, EFT files. So whatever is beneficial to you, or they can contact you as well to make that commitment. And I'm okay with either way. So
cool. Yeah, I know we did the PayPal thing's really easy to do. But yeah, this and maybe what I'll have you do is, while I'm talking here, is type in the comments box, type the URL. They can go check out the ministry. So really, I'm going to kind of wrap this thing up. I know it's Sunday night, but we really love this Little Black Dress program. It's an awesome program. It's really been a blessing. It was, I'll quite honestly, when I did it last summer, I came back from a long family trip. We drove my stepson down to college, and I did we do a VIP ladies night out at Chianti Grill here in Burnsville, in our area. Nice restaurant. I was kind of tired. I had just gone off a 10-day road trip, and man, I was fired up because those ladies showed up. They looked like $1 million in those black dresses. They were all glowing. Their faces were, it's like their hope had been restored. They were just going on and on at dinner, and they were so excited about the results they got. So I just look at this as twofold. People can actually get themselves, ladies can get themselves in, we have to come up with a guy's version. Maybe we'll have black tank top or something, but ladies, get yourself in shape, get into that black dress. Cause I know women, just from being in the personal training industry, and most of my clients are women, getting into clothes is always a big way of measuring success. We can do body comps, we can do measurements, but getting into that dress that you haven't gotten into for a while, that's a big way to measure success. 50% of everything that we get from this goes to Greg's ministry. But like I said, if you commit to starting in August and going to the end of the year as a full sponsorship, I'll do this for free for you. I'll have my trainers, we will work for free, because like I said, part of our thing is giving back, and this business, and the little part I can do for what Greg's doing, I'm blessed to do it. I'm thankful to be able to help this guy. He's a friend, and every time I get to talk to him, I get fired up. So that's it. Anybody have any questions? You want to put them in the comments right now for Greg. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up. We'll give it a minute or so. But Greg, I thank you for being on tonight. I know it's Sunday night. It's kind of family night for a lot of people and the people that are watching. But, once again, just if you guys jumped on late, we are doing a 50% of our revenue for our Little Black Dress project. I put the URL in the comments box, is going to Greg's ministry. Greg was talking about 3 ways they rescue girls in India. Now they're into Southeast Asia from sex trafficking. He's a guy that goes over and he does it himself. He isn't just funding this. He's active in this ministry. So it's really, really cool stuff. And if you weren't here at the beginning, I'm going to record this, go back and watch the beginning of this Facebook Live and hear Greg talk about what they do and exactly how they do it. So I don't see any questions. I thank everybody for being on tonight. I thank you, Greg. Keep up the awesome work. We're going to make this thing work. And keep doing what you're doing, man. We're going to support you 100%.
All right. Thanks, Eric.